Ischemic Stroke by Amy Poston. Your brain and vascular system are vitally linked to keep you alive and well. Though your brain occupies only 5% of your body, it needs 20% of the blood supply to function properly. When that blood supply is restricted or blocked, the life-giving oxygen in the blood can't get to the delicate brain tissues that need it. The tissues start to die, and parts of the brain stop working. You can think of a stroke as the same as a heart attack, except it happens in your brain. Ischemic stroke occurs when oxygen-rich blood flow to the brain is restricted by a blood clot or other blockage. The brain depends on its arteries to bring fresh blood from the heart and lungs. The blood carries oxygen and nutrients to the brain and takes away carbon dioxide and cellular waste. If an artery is blocked, the brain cells cannot make enough energy and will eventually stop working. If the artery remains blocked for more than a few minutes, the brain cells will die. This is why immediate medical treatment is critical. Ischemic stroke can be caused by several different kinds of diseases. The most common problem is narrowing of the arteries in the neck or head. This is most often caused by atherosclerosis. Atherosclerotic plaque reduces blood flow in the internal carotid artery. If the arteries become too narrow, blood cells may collect and form blood clots. These blood clots can block the artery where they are formed, or can dislodge and become trapped in arteries closer to the brain. Atherosclerosis is a slow, complex disease that typically starts in childhood and often progresses when people grow older. This disease progresses rapidly in some people in their 20s. In others, it doesn't become a threat until they've reached their 50s or 60s. Atherosclerosis is often referred to as hardening of the arteries. The word comes from the Greek words athero, meaning gruel or paste, and sclerosis, meaning hardness. It's the process of which deposits of fatty substances, cholesterol, cellular waste products, calcium, and other substances build up in the inner lining of an artery. This buildup is called plaque. These fatty deposits can cause two types of obstruction. Cerebral thrombosis, from the Greek thrombus, meaning clot or lump, that develops at the clogged part of the vessel, and cerebral embolism, from the Greek embolus, meaning stopper or plug, refers generally to a blood clot that forms at another location in the circulatory system, usually the heart and large arteries of the upper chest and neck. A portion of the blood clot breaks loose, enters the bloodstream, and travels through the brain's blood vessels until it reaches vessels too small to let it pass. A second important cause of embolism is an irregular heartbeat, known as atrial fibrillation. It creates conditions where clots can form in the heart, dislodge, and travel to the brain. The only FDA-approved treatment for ischemic stroke is tissue plasminogen activator, or TPA. TPA works by dissolving the clot and improving blood flow to the part of the brain being deprived of blood. If administered within 3 hours, TPA may improve chances of recovering from a stroke. A significant number of stroke victims don't get to the hospital in time for TPA treatment. This is why it's so important to identify a stroke immediately. Treatment option is endovascular procedure in which specially trained doctors try removing the blood clot by sending a catheter to the site of the blocked blood vessel in the brain. Sometimes these procedures involve TPA being administered directly into the blood clot, called intra-arterial treatment, to help dissolve the blockage. In other procedures, a doctor may attempt to remove the clot. Researchers are still conducting research to determine the best clinical protocols for endovascular procedures. Ischemic stroke is by far the most common kind of stroke, accounting for about 88% of all strokes. Stroke can affect people of all ages, including children. Each year, about 55,000 more women than men have a stroke, and it's more common among African Americans than members of other ethnic groups. Know the sudden signs of stroke. Does the face look uneven? Ask them to smile. Does one arm drift down? Ask them to raise both arms. Does their speech sound strange? Ask them to repeat a phrase. Every second that goes by, brain cells die. Call 911 at any sign of stroke. Know the sudden signs of stroke and act fast.